Hey, good morning, TitanX. Welcome to the lounge. It's Friday, January 10th. Yes, we're heading into the weekend. I'm sure a lot of people are still trying to recover from New Year's. That was this week. Christmas, New Year's venture was like brutal. I mean, the way the days aligned, but we're on the road to recovery there. But for everybody here so far, thanks for joining. We want to dive in a little bit and talk about some projects in particular. One of the things is X28. We I have that to really start to understand and start to explore and look at where that could go. Um, and it's really exciting because that could take us in directions that a lot of people are really interested in, and maybe going omni-chain and so on and so forth. So we'll be touching on a few things there. But first and foremost, before we get started, any discussions or topics or conversations that take place in the lounge, by no means in any way, shape, or form are financial advice. Please do your own research, and be safe in anything that you do. But on that note, I have two amazing guests in the lounge, and they're both honorary guests because they've been on before. We have the dude and we have Rudy. Gentlemen, thank you for joining.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah, thank you. Happy to be here. You said it's Friday, and I was like, oh, is it? Like every day is a work day for me.
Yeah, no.
I hear that. Yeah, ever since Christmas, my days have been a little messed up. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, we'll get back on a routine. So, but yeah, either way, yeah, we got a lot going on. I guess Ascendant's getting ready to launch. What, tomorrow?
They actually pushed back their launch a little bit.
They did.
Yeah. I just saw that on their chat last night, but
Okay.
you know what? All things in due time. With everything going on right now, like getting the launch phases of these projects right is so important. So I think they saw that and saw that it might be beneficial just to wait a little bit longer to get their product out there.
Oh, man, I had to push back Helios, and so I completely understand. Like it's so heart-wrenching to have to do that, to like set a date and then go, oh, sorry, we're not ready, we're pushing it back. Like it's so, but like it is the right thing to do. If you're not ready, you're not ready. So
yeah, and
I
as far as their circumstances is, I know that they're 100% ready. I think they're just looking at the general market right now. And that's the thing, like everything kind of took a little dump this week. So, that's just part of it, this is like the best part about TitanX is that, I look at these things, I'm like, man, these things are not going anywhere. Like all we're doing every single day is that we're continuing to burn supply. And when the time is right, the patience game is huge here. And, there's going to be people that are coming in and leaving. And, the people that have stuck around since day one and are patient, I truly believe that there's a big pot of gold at the end of that rainbow.
Yeah, for a lot
it's
of
interesting that they're trying to time the market. Because like I feel like there's pros and cons to launching at a lull or at a high. But yeah, I mean, it's their project and they're the ones calling the shots. But
Yep.
Yeah, I hope the best for them.
Absolutely.
Well,
it's a cool
peace of
project.
mind.
I'm excited.
I can think of, I mean, throughout the past year, some projects that got pushed back, and I was kind of surprised in a way initially, in the earlier days when some of the projects that were coming to the forefront and announcements were made, like, hey, we're gonna have to push the launch back, and people were like really upset, and I was like, good. I was actually glad,
Yeah,
so,
sure, absolutely.
and as as founders and builders for like the two of you, if ever there is a pushback, if you ever had a project like that, and it sounds like you have, I mean, then when you actually get to the point where you're ready to launch, I'm sure there's got to be something there in the back of your mind going, okay, there was one thing and now we fixed it. I sure hope there isn't anything else. I'm sure that's got to be in the back of your mind somewhere.
Well, I mean, these days I've made it a very strong point that I'm not going to rush anything out to the market. So if there is anything that I'm not, that like when I announce a launch date, that's signaling to the market that I am 100% ready to do this. There is nothing in the back of my mind going, well, what about this or what about that? Like,
That's good.
if there is those questions, then I'm not releasing a launch date. And I saw that with like Ouroboros in the chat. They're like, why is there a launch date not being released? And it's like, well, I'm sure he's still, crossing his T's, dotting his I's. Like there doesn't have to be a set time. Like he'll do it when he's ready. It's that simple.
Yeah, and again, it's with TitanX stuff. It's not like we're just trying to like time an entry and exit. Like it's way more than just that. It's something that this is something that's going to be here for a very long time, and a project with the caliber of Ouroboros, particularly. I mean, that has to be 1,000,000% right to really do what we expect it and want it to do for the ecosystem.
Yeah. It's like no doubt the most complex project we're gonna have launched on TitanX moving forward. And you're right about like timing. Like most of these projects have limited mint time frames. Like Stacks is 28-day mint phase. After that, it's the minting's over. So I could see how people are like wanting to time the market just so that they can get maximum participation in that short time frame.
Yeah, I was actually going to bring that up. It's so important because a lot of these things run based off of participation in those first initial phases, right? It's like getting in as much as firepower as you can to produce the best product back to the user as possible. And that's just something that it's a very, very limited window, and it's really important to get really good participation to make these things work the way that they should.
Indeed.
Yeah, I'm kind of on the fence with that. Like with Stacks, I was talking to Utah, and it's like, we're trying to figure out how to, push marketing harder and get that out there. Like the ROI on our website shows 30%, plus, and it's like crypto degens don't even care. Like it's like you got to have 100% or more. Like I don't know. It's just. And we're talking about like things we can do, and then it's like, what, like just we've almost conceded to like it is what it is. Like we feel like it's a really strong protocol as it is. If people want to get in, then they can get in, but if they don't, it's still going to function just fine as it is with just a very, very extremely limited supply. I haven't checked recently, but it's like 2% liquid circulating supply. It's like ridiculously low. Like, and the amount that's in the buy and burn could buy it over like 3 times. It's like, what? We'll whatever happens. I mean, I don't know. Like, obviously, we still want to push marketing. There's like a week and a half left of minting, but just kind of letting it do its thing. Like it is what it is. I don't know. That's the best way to put it.
You're right. I didn't actually realize the liquid supply was that low. Wow. That's amazing. I love that. when this thing caps, like, and people have no other choice than to buy it off the market, that could get really interesting. And like you said, the buy and burn can do a lot of damage there. So that's awesome.
Yeah, I don't want to rush the mint phase, but I am excited to see what happens after minting ends. But yeah, I don't want to get ahead of myself. Like there's still a little over a week. So yeah.
Let's go, baby. Yeah. Actually, No Spoon just said the best marketing we can do as a community is to go live crypto streams on YouTube. Doesn't matter the streamer or topic, and respectfully mention TitanX. And I wholeheartedly agree with that. We were actually just talking about that before we got on the stream. It's like, us as builders and community members, like it's more important than ever just to stay active with these streams. Just keep the conversation moving. Like, everything's taking a dip across the market, but we're not going anywhere. We're here. We're building. We're putting cool stuff out there. We're engaging with the community. I'm going to be doing a stream on Saturdays. Well, it's actually not even a stream. It's going to be like a Twitter space on Saturdays going forward with the Ascendant team, which will be really fun. We did one last week, And spaces are interesting because it's a lot easier and more accessible for people from the community to actually step up and have their voice heard. You know, they don't have to come on camera or like commit to a really long live stream. They can just like come and share some ideas. So that's actually our first like weekly stream is going to be tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you guys are around and want to hop in and chat with us, that'll be a great time to do so.
Did you say you're hosting this?
Yeah, actually, I linked up with Sal from the Ascendant team, and you know we got a really good vibe together. So I was like, dude, let's do these spaces more often. Like, you know, spaces are a little different than streams again because it gives you like the community an opportunity just to step up and say like, hey, what's up? Like, we like what you guys are doing, or you know, maybe you should try this, or maybe we should try this as a community. So I'm looking forward to doing that. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, like it's a little more accessible. Yeah, that's one thing I really like about, you know, everybody in the TitanX ecosystem at least is extremely accessible. Like any community member can reach out and Telegram on X and talk to these founders. And I don't know, I just think that's cool. Just like where else in the world like can you talk to the CEO of a company, you know, like it's just
Yeah,
you know, not that we're
it's
CEOs,
amazing.
but yeah.
It's amazing. Just that level of interaction between us as builders and us with the community members. Like we're always accessible. Like anytime you have a question, you want to shoot the shit. I mean, I've hopped on so many calls with people that I never actually even really necessarily expected to talk to, and it's really amazing to see how much synergy is in this community. And you know, going back to the idea with the Twitter space is like another thing that we would really like to do with that is reach to outside communities. Because I think that's really our next evolution is really getting these ideas out there in a simplified manner, getting people excited about the new things that are getting built that maybe haven't even heard of TitanX yet, but they see something like Stacks or Element 280, E369, Mizuchi, etc. And they're like, oh well, what's X28? You know, so we need to keep this conversation going to keep beating it into people's heads, and you know, just being consistent with this stuff is going to be the absolute key.
Yeah, actually, yesterday, just I was popping around, going into different shill chats and stuff, and making a post in there, posting some basically some really good information on TitanX.win, posting it in there in their billboard section. You know, a nice little banner saying, "Hey, introducing such and such and so and so." So I'm just spreading it out, and I'm just dropping it in all these different chats because a lot of them are encouraging it. So why not? I mean, I was in Base, I was in Solana, I was all over the place, just dropping it in there, you know. And next thing you know, boom, boom, I'm getting followers that no green circles. They're coming from out of nowhere. And they're coming from those chats, you know. So in those streams.
If they don't have a green circle now, they will in a couple weeks.
Yeah, so it's like when somebody comes in, there's no green circle. It's like, well, okay, all right.
That's awesome. I love that.
So
yeah, this marketing to outside communities is so important right now. You know, the guys that are here and been here know what's going on, but it's hard to encapsulate the idea of TitanX into a few short sentences. And there's nothing better than, you know, having the learning experience of going through like, okay, like, you know, where do I learn more about this stuff? Oh, go to TitanXHub.com. You know, go check out the landing page at TitanX.win. Go check X, Y, and Z projects. You know, there's just so much to look at. And if I was outside coming in right now and seeing what's being built over here, I know I could speak on my own behalf. I would be fascinated. I'm already fascinated with it, but nothing else exists like this in crypto. Nothing. So yeah, it's been awesome.
Yeah, I'm that's where like I'm super excited about X28 finally, you know, kicking off to Omnichain, and like I'm really excited about moving over to Base and just getting a whole new, like just raising awareness on a whole nother chain. Like Like, we could do this all over again, like on every chain. Like, we can introduce TitanX to a whole new audience over and over and over again with the same exact supply, like without having to inflate the supply. Like, it's so powerful.
It is.
Yeah, I've been thinking about like what's going to happen once the X28 native pair goes live on like Base or whatever. The liquid supply over there is going to be so tiny. There's going to be like this massive arbitrage opportunity right off the bat. What do you see happening like when that goes live?
It's hard to speculate because, for one, I don't know exactly the process that Jake's going to do. I mean, I'm assuming he's going to launch it, on a chain and then immediately create a pair. There's no telling what size LP that's going to be. I mean, on its own, I don't know that that's going to, I mean, I don't know. Like, you've got people that watch charts only, and they're going to see a new token launch. It's new to them. And you might see people aping in on a brand new chart, like, sniper bots, whatever. That could be interesting. That would be fun to see sniper bots aping in on what they think's a brand new token, and then arbitrage bots come in and wreck them, and then the entire process burn a shit ton of TitanX.
Yeah, dude. Oh my god, it's like all I can think of is just madness, like absolute like sheer madness. But like you said, there's no additional supply being created in this process. All we're going to be doing is locking, like, the liquid supply of X28 is already so low. Now people are going to be bridging over to other chains, maybe trying to take advantage of an arbitrage opportunity, etc. Maybe moving in from TitanX into X28 and moving to the other chains that way, burning more TitanX in the process. Like, I'm really fascinated with how X28's working to burn supply the way that it is, because it's a constant burn. Like, I can't imagine. I've never seen anything like this where the burn is just getting fed by pure demand of the product. Oh, hey.
There you are.
Yo, what's up, guys?
Name to a face. All right, I love it.
Excellent.
Sorry.
Back in the lab.
Yeah. I didn't mean to derail what you were saying. I kind of missed that.
Oh no, that's okay. I kind of forgot what I was talking about, to be honest. But I think it was along the lines of like the sheer madness that could happen once X28 launches, and the idea of X28 being this constant perpetual burn on the system. Like, when you start to look at the numbers and the burn rate that's happening right now, like, what is this going to look like in 100, 200 days? What is the total supply of TitanX going to look like? And the guys that have held and their bags are just becoming worth more by, the share proxy of the burn. And it's all fed through demand, right? It's like, people are going to be swapping or converting into X28, swapping back into TitanX, maybe getting into another project that accepts TitanX as an input, then converts back to X28, burns again. So what is the supply going to look like for TitanX in the next 100, 200 days? Like, I almost can't even imagine. I saw some stats, people talking, like, basically we'll be, if we kept up with the burn rate as it is, we could be in the billions of supply. Granted, that would be insane. I don't even know. Like, what does that look like? What does that look like?
Right.
Yacht party is what that looks like. Like under $1 trillion, that's I can't even comprehend what that would look like. But yeah, like it's like new projects that integrate X28, they don't even have to, like, I would still recommend having an allocation of burning X28, but just adding demand, is going to burn TitanX, just because as more demand for X28 comes in, they got to get those tokens from somewhere, and they're going to do it by taking TitanX and minting X28. Like, that's the only way it's going to come in. So just building on it without even burning any tokens, you're burning tokens, just from the demand. Like it's
wild.
like the foundation's in place, you know, like it's just a matter of time. And
Like,
you know, when I get down, I look at you know, Mike Dean's premium TitanX hub and like look at the stats, and I'm like, okay, everything's okay, you know.
that's
like,
hilarious.
Yeah. It's the biggest bull case that there is. Just go look at the and this is math. It's the stats. Like, just go look at those and be like, yeah, everything's cool. Yeah.
It's so counter to everything that we know in traditional finance. Like, basically, you know, our government, you know, we're in the US, like it prints money to keep up with demand to try to, you know, level out prices, et cetera. I mean, there's a lot of more elements to that, but imagine just if you were able to hold on to US dollars and there was less and less of that every single year, you would never want to spend your money. You would never want to like do anything. Like just holding cash at that point would be a good investment. Holding cash in traditional finance is not a great investment. So now we have something like TitanX where you just hold and your percentage of this total share of supply just continues to go up. And it really, like, even for future miners, et cetera, it's not going to inflate the supply that much. And I think, and I've been saying this for a long time, I think when miners become profitable again, we're going to be really thankful to see some supply come back on the market. And those guys that started miners early are going to be like, told you.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm rooting for mining to come back. Like it's going to be very beneficial to the ecosystem because the amount of inflation is going to be minuscule compared to what it was in the beginning, just because of the, you know, the way it's designed. But it's going to bring in a ton of ETH. Like, so you're going to have way more ETH coming in, way less inflation. And all that ETH goes into these smart contracts, you know, like DragonX and Helios and Phoenix. Like, it's going to fuel these build on TitanX protocols to boost them, which in turn they're locking up more TitanX. Like, it's going to fuel that flywheel, and like it's absolutely going to be a good thing in my opinion.
I agree. I prefer not even to look at it as future inflation, but rather future expansion, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's gonna be interesting. Like this is something that, you know, TitanX has been what, a year and few months at this point. Like another 6 months from now, like crushing the liquid supply almost down to nothing. Like a lot of amazing projects in the pipeline that are coming out. A lot of projects that are already out there that are continuing to build. Really excited to see, you know, future developments with those. Everybody's learning from one another in terms of the builder community, in terms of the community. There's just been so much to chew on here, and I personally, I'm not looking really anywhere else in crypto. I started dabbling a little bit with Sonic, just because it's really early ecosystem, but other than that, I mean, my eyes have been purely on TitanX X28, and the integration with going multi-chain. Like that's going to be really interesting.
Yeah, I mean, for me, like I'm basically all in. Like I've got Bitcoin, I've got ETH. Like I will forever always tell people that when they ask me about crypto, I'm like, step 1 is get some Bitcoin. Step 2 is get ETH, and then you play with altcoins. Other than that, like I'm all in TitanX. That's all.
Well, you just don't tell them to get a Phantom wallet and go to Pump Fun and the first fucking onboarding that it's finest. Make sure your friends lose money right off the bat so they understand what this is all about, and then we can talk about the meat and potatoes.
No, I try to do it right, man. I
hear you. It's been interesting. I've been getting the calls from friends and stuff. They're like, "Oh, how's that crypto stuff going?" I'm like, "Pretty good. It's good."
Yeah. I've been saying it for years. You know, why are you asking me now? You know, so many people are like, "Man, you're doing great. Like, it's, you know, it's awesome. I just, you know, it's just not for me." And I'm like, "What does that even mean? Like,
right?
What? Like,
so
I'm literally doing this full time." And you can do it too. Like come on, man. Come on.
I was at a work thing for my wife this week, and I talked to people, you know, they were like, "Oh, what do you do for a living?" Da, da, da. I'm like, "Yeah, so I do crypto. I like to, you know, been building projects. You know, I'm kind of, you know, I like to invest in projects, but I'm more particularly like to build new things and innovative things. And most of them are just right off the bat, like, I don't understand it, I don't get it, and you know, that's pretty much it. And they'll stop right there because they don't understand it. They won't even take the time to like learn anything about it, you know?
Well, I mean, that is good that they're not just like jumping into something they don't understand. But
Oh, I agree with that. Yeah.
but that's what signals like there needs to be more education, and that's the same with TitanX. It's like you've even got people in crypto that are like, I don't get TitanX, I don't understand it, and they're not getting in. So it's like, again, more education on what does TitanX stand for? What is it? You know, like why should you care about it? You know.
Absolutely. I start to usually when I get into these conversations, I start to channel in the idea of a bankless system, right? And the idea of valid, like how these validators work, how the mining systems work, et cetera, to actually remove the middleman. And I think that's probably the most important for new people coming into crypto to understand is how that middleman actually gets removed through the tech, right? Like what is this actually doing and why is it important? And you know, I've come up with like interesting analogies and interesting ways to explain it. And by the end of the conversations, it'll be like, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. And then we can progress, you know, then we can talk about other things, getting into it a little bit more. So yeah, it's this next year is going to be really interesting. We're set up for an extreme bull case. The markets are going to do what the markets are going to do, but as far as like regulations and, you know, the 3-letter agencies, you know, kind of coming to terms with how are these things actually going to function, I think that's going to be really interesting to watch unfold this year. And I'm actually excited about it in a way because before, you know, as a builder, you know, there's a lot of implications there, you know, when you're putting something out there and, you know, you start talking about securities laws, et cetera. And for users, you know, taxes, et cetera, like there's no guidelines there right now. And to see some of that stuff come together, I'm excited to see how it starts to develop because it could be a strong bull case for crypto, for people that want to get away from, that want to get into a bankless system, et cetera. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting.
I mean, BlackRock getting in is signaling to me that like this is here to stay. Like they wouldn't be a part of, they wouldn't have the ETF if it wasn't here to stay. Like it's just a matter of time before like they educate the what I call the normies, you know, the no coiners. Like it's just a matter of time. Like I have full 100% confidence that we are in the right place at the right time.
I agree. And you know, I don't want to get too much into political stuff, but when we start to talk about a Bitcoin reserve, you know, in countries like taking it and trying and helping to back their money with Bitcoin, like you look at that and the time scale of the next 5 to 10 years, I mean, $1 million Bitcoin is fully on the table.
Oh, yeah.
And that's not even like moon boy shit. That's like
easy.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
You know what's crazy is back long time ago. We're talking back in like in 1800s. You remember silver certificates in the basically it was U.S. dollars that were backed by silver because it was so the trust in the U.S. dollar had disintegrated to the point where, you know, nobody trusted it. Period, because inflation was getting out of hand. It was just chaos. So the only way for the government to regain trust in the public was to back the dollar with something physical, and they actually chose silver.
No, I've heard of gold. Was this?
And then it was originally silver. Then it went to gold, and then that's when it really got ugly because people thought that gold was superior to silver. Then everybody was pissed off about their silver. So it was a real ugly thing. So with a lot of people, like countries like Rudy, what you just said, you know, they're getting this Bitcoin to back their currency. Well, they're putting some weight behind it, you know, to give it some value. You know, we did that in the United States years ago to regain public trust in the U.S. dollar. countries are doing it now with Bitcoin. It's crazy.
What's amazing about Bitcoin is that we know how much is out there. We know like what the inflation rate is, et cetera. We just had another halving, which, you know, like cuts out a ton of like sell pressure in terms of Bitcoin, makes it a lot more rare. And the other thing with Bitcoin is that it has an entire industry behind it with mining, right? And like I think in terms of like traditional assets, et cetera, like people like governments like the idea of production. And even though Bitcoin's wasteful as fuck, like there's a lot of money in those industries that they want to, like I think Trump in particular wants to take back into the US, like control a larger share of the hash rate, you know, not outsource all of these things. Like let's take it back into this country. I mean, who knows what could happen in the next, I would say the next 3 to 5 years, we'll really see like a direction. In the next 10 years, who knows?
Yeah,
it's gonna be amazing.
There's things that you can do to make it more green, you know, like using all the heat from these miners to like warm a city, you know, like there's things you can do. And I've seen stories about like using excess, like there's times where power companies have excess energy that they can't do anything with, and you can divert that to Bitcoin mining and like not be wasteful with the power. Like there's several things, but yeah,
major industry just in general.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, what
does
ended up
anything like that exist? Sorry, Rudy. Are there any power companies currently doing that? Do you know?
I remember seeing something. I'd have to look it up. It's been a minute, but there was somewhere in Africa where they were supporting. I don't remember how it was going on, but they were supporting local communities with excess. Don't get me lying. I'll find the article and I'll share it out.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Later.
Yeah, that'd be cool because I mean, that just made me think about like people that have a house that invests in their solar, you know, solutions.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if technically with what you just said, it just kind of struck a chord with me, and I was thinking, if I have a solar panel and if I'm feeding the grid with excess energy that I don't need, why can't I, as the solar panel owner, the property owner, redirect that energy that was going to go back to the power company to a miner?
I've got a friend that's doing that. He's sending power
That's
back
brilliant.
to the grid, and I've been like, bro, like, don't. I've been saying that same thing. Like, you need to get some Bitcoin miners. Like, when you got excess power, just shoot it in there. Like, come on, man. Like, because the power company is not putting a check in their pocket. They're giving them credits.
Correct.
You know,
right.
Like, there's no actual dollar value that they're getting paid. So it's like you could be getting actual value in the form of Bitcoin.
Yeah, I mean, you may not hit one, but you know, you could get bits and pieces. It all adds. Every penny counts.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you're solo mining, that's a whole nother. That is kind of a lottery game, you know.
Yeah.
Like you would have to join a pool for sure if you want more consistent income. That's why I love Ethereum, like with the proof of stake. It's made it more accessible, you know, especially with Rocket Pool. Like you can just stake any amount of ETH you want and be a part of that system and get paid on it. So it makes it more accessible for the average user.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things, even just like you can get payouts with USDC, et cetera, getting an interest rate on that. And I think there's just so many different ways that you can capitalize on the entire crypto network that, hasn't even breached mainstream yet.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. Like I'm like, why? I got into this because, fuck the banks and like
exactly.
And
I don't want to keep my money in a bank.
Yeah. And even if you want to be safe or whatever, and you need to hold some USDC or whatever, like you can hold that USDC in a crypto wallet. And like you said, you can deposit it on these lending platforms and earn yield on it, like without actually having to use a bank. A bank holding your USD is they're capitalizing on your funds and you get nothing out of it. And you might get charged fees if you don't play their game exactly the way they want you to. And like, it's like, why? No, I don't do that. Like, I hold it all in crypto. And if I need money to pay bills or whatever, I transfer it at that point, like 95% of what I've got it stays in crypto, even if it is in USDC, which I hate using. I've always been a huge DAI person, but I feel like the even DAI is it's backed by USDC, so it's like, what am I even doing? So I hold USDC at this point. Like,
yeah. No, it makes sense too. I mean, would you rather like give your money to a bank so they can do whatever, or actually have some ownership over your funds? And even like if it's paying 5%, it's paying 5%. 5% on $1 million is pretty substantial. You can live off of that theoretically, depending on where your cost of living is. But that's the idea, is just taking back control into your own hands versus giving everything that you have to a bank, right? Like, granted, real world assets like land and real estate, etc., all great investments. But I look at crypto as being the thing that I own, like, solely. There's no intermediary. There's no nothing in between me and my funds.
I feel like those type of people, like you and I, are what's good for crypto, because we have those initial values at heart, like the decentralization and all those types of things, cutting out the middleman. Then you have that whole other class of people that are like, I want to make money. I want to make more USD to go back to my shitty fiat system. And I think those are the people that end up on, pump.fun or whatever. And
yeah, right. Like, they finally get like a little bit and then they just give it away. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny, James. Yeah. $50,000 in other countries is a lot. And he would know. I mean, he's been traveling. He's been all over the world, living in different parts of the world.
Right.
Yeah. You can make $50,000 go a long way in Vietnam.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's chop into some TitanX stuff. I want to talk about stacks. I want to talk about Element 369. Like, where are we at right now? Like, you want to give us like an overview?
I mean, Element 369, I need to pull it up too. It had a longer mint phase, and I think a lot of people have been fading it because they're like, I got time to go look into it. Let me see. It's still got 22 days left in this mint cycle. Then after 22 days, it's going to cut off for 44 days. And the reason being is because it's synced up with Flux. If you're not familiar, let me just back up. Element 369 is the Flux easy button. Flux is getting a lot of support, and I'm pretty happy with how it's working out. But so Element 369 is in sync with that, and it's a 44 days on, 44 days off mint cycle, and that's in sync with the 88-day Flux payout, which is one of their. They've got the 777, but other than that, the 88's premier payout. So we didn't want people coming in on day 87 minting an NFT and getting a part of this large payout. So if you want to get a part of that 88-day payout, you've got to mint 44 days in advance. And then the second that payout hits, we reopen minting for another 44 days. So like, you can get in on any of these cycles, but it has to be at the beginning of one of these 88-day cycles.
Hey, dude, what site are you on so I can bring it up?
Element280.win.
Okay.
And it's working flawlessly. It is, like I said, truly the easy button. Like, you just hold the NFT, and you're earning tokens. If you go to, see at the top, Element 369.
Hold on a second.
By the way, I love our latest addition is the rotating logo avatar on the top left there.
I noticed that. That's sweet.
Yeah.
Where do you want me to go, dude?
Element 369.
Yep.
Mint. Yeah. And it
Yeah,
is
you guys,
there's no amplifier options on this. We kind of wanted to play with just a more simplified version to see how that works out. Personally, I think I'm a fan of like the stacks variant where there's like several amplified options. If you go to the mint page there's like 12 different options on minting on stacks.
yep, there you
Yeah.
go.
Yeah. And like looking at the stats on it, like everybody loves the LFG version, which is just like max amplifier. I guess just to go over that real quick, like there's one set level of backing. Like the common is 100 million. TitanX gets you 100 million stacks backing on any of the commons. But if you want additional rewards coming in, then you can amplify it. It costs you more TitanX, but you're getting double the amount of value in multiplier points. So like just the regular amped, it's 10% more, but you're getting a 20% multiplier. And then you go all the way up to the LFG. It costs 50% more, but you're getting 100% increase in rewards.
Mm-hmm.
But the backing stays the same, so it's up to the user to decide how they want to play this game. But looking at the stats, if you go to the stats tab to the top right, we've got just one stats page for everything. And then look at the NFT supply on stacks. It's like down some. There you go. Like legendary, 0 regulars, 0 amp, 0 supers, only LFGs. That to me signals that these people are diamond hand players. Like they're not here for short term plays.
Right.
And then it's a little bit more of a mix on the rares and commons, but still a very clear indicator that everyone loves the LFG status. Like they want max rewards. They don't care about the backing. Because if you're going to literally hold this NFT forever and never sell it, never burn it, then you don't care about the backing. And so even though there's less backing, you're getting the additional rewards. And over time, that's going to overpower that additional cost. So,
yeah, it makes perfect sense. I mean, just looking at the stats here too, you see there's only 4 NFTs that have been burned. 4.
Yeah.
So what does that tell you about your holders? Is that you got people that are interested in passive income, people that are smart, they're minting the higher tiered or the higher amplified NFTs so that they can get a better share of those rewards. And having something like this, I can't even imagine. I mean, just looking at the liquid supply here, 3.18%. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Like what's going to happen when mint closes on this?
Yeah. I mean, where else do you see something with? I think we might hold the record for the lowest liquid supply.
Yeah, I would say that's pretty. Like, I've been talking about Titan Legends, and the liquid supply there has been very low since day one. But this is even lower. This is like, I mean, there's like nothing there. Like those LPs get bought up, and even if there's a little bit more liquid supply at that point, the buy and burns and just some participation from the outside can do a lot of damage here. I love it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. And so
you guys have such a great site. I actually want to compliment you on that. You have my favorite site in the TitanX ecosystem. There's just so much to look at. I mean, it's a true degen playground in so many ways. There's a lot of ways to get involved. The stats page is simple, and it just gives you what you need. I'm sure you probably had to go through iterations of maybe simplifying it down a little bit just to make it not confusing for people. But the way that this is set up is awesome. You can tell there's a lot of thought that goes into this.
Yeah, I'm actually about to go live with an update that's going to have a pop-up. So like when you go to the website as a new user, there'll be a pop-up that gives you a general overview of what the element ecosystem is. Same with Helios / Giannis. There's going to be a pop-up on that. It gives you like a new user. an overview of what's going on and resources to learn more and all that. But then we'll have a checkbox that says, don't show me this again. So like for regular returning users, you can just click that. So when you go to the website, it's not popping up on you. It's not annoying you. But at the same time, new users are going to be like, it'll flash for those people to really help them understand.
Always with that freaking prime innovation, man. And honestly, it sounds like a simple thing, a pop-up window, but when you're talking about something like this where there's a few different white papers involved to actually read to get the whole gist of it, to be able to give somebody the just the eagle eye overview in just a bite-sized chunk, I think is so important, because then they can look at that, they can decide, the parts that they might be more interested in, maybe go read the white paper for that specific part, and then over time, have them ape in, and then they'll go and start to read more of what this actually does in this ecosystem. You guys have such an amazing site, and that's a really cool innovation. I would expect other people to adopt that idea too at some point, just because these things are complicated. It's not just buy and sell. There's a lot more than just like aping into a token on Uniswap here.
And I feel like that's the overall for TitanX, that's the biggest hurdle. Is it's not just buy low. I mean, it can be a buy low, sell high type of token, but it's overwhelming to a user and like, what is this? And then you look and you're like, what are all these projects? Like, what do they do for TitanX? And like, like even for experienced crypto users, it's hard for them to understand all of it. So trying to simplify it is, I'm always trying to innovate on that side of things, for sure.
Yeah, killer, man. Yeah, I mean, the ETH input, swapping into TitanX with the original Element 280 was a big one. You see a lot of projects doing that. I mean, we're adopting that with Mizuchi in a big way, especially with the X28 integration. We want to be able to make it as simple as possible for people, whether you're in TitanX or you're in ETH or you already have X28, just to be able to get people in a streamlined manner, because it can turn into a lot of buttons. And when somebody thinks about, I have to go to Uniswap, I have to buy a TitanX, I have to convert it to X28, like what's X28 again? It can turn into a lot. And trying to simplify the button mashing process in general is really smart, and giving people again those bite-sized chunks of information so they can get the broad overview without necessarily, having to become a scientist in the process. It's huge, man. You've been doing a great job with that. And this website's just come a long way, even since day one, and it's looking amazing.
Yes. I'm very happy with it as well. This was one of those things where it was like when we designed it, and like before it even launched, I was like, yes, this is it. Like, when you get those feelings, like when you're designing a protocol or anything, it's like you just get that like fuck yes energy. Like that's what it was.
What I've been doing with UI design is like I'll mock it up for the dev basically, and like I'll be like, okay, this is what this does. Have everything, try to think about every little piece of this, because when you're designing a protocol, there's a lot of other implications that come with it. Well, what if this and what if that? What if this user, tries to snipe the payout pool the last minute? Like, how do we prevent that? And, how do we display this information in a way that's not too much and not too little? So many considerations, and like so much thought goes into this. Every little piece requires thought, right?
And on that note, like with Stacks on our Stacks Hub, there's like 20 different functions to be called at any given time. And we were looking at it, and it was like, that's a shitload of information to put on one page. So we decided, like, if it's not clickable, we don't show it. And so like it simplifies the web page so much for a user to go on there, and like we're not inundating them with information that's not relevant at that specific point in time. But if
Yeah.
something like if a payout hits and there's something to claim, that's when the button shows up, and
Yep.
all the information behind it. So I was really happy about that too, because I want to see all the info,
Me too.
but then
Yeah.
but like to other users, they're like, what, they immediately like, well, what is all this? Like, this is way too much for a standard user. So it's like,
Yeah.
it's always a battle to like simplify things when I want to see everything. So it's like, we're always trying to like battle that for sure. Like, just show just the right amount of information for a user without overwhelming them.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. And granted, a lot of guys in TitanX, like, they understand it. They've been a part of these projects for a long time. But again, we're really most interested at this point in bringing in people from outside of TitanX, especially when these multi-chain innovations go live. And I know that you're working on a little something for Base, and like, you have these NFTs able to be expandable to other protocols. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so like I'm absolutely targeting Base. That is coming soon. But first, we've got to expand the existing tokens so that we can build on them over there. So I'm working on H420, which is going to be omni-chain Helios. We've got E280 that's going omni-chain. That's priority number one, is getting that out first.
That
and then
makes sense.
so once X28 launches on Base, I can immediately launch LPs on top of X28 with these other tokens. And yeah, I'm excited. Like, I really like building on the Element ecosystem, because it's anything that's driving volume through that is driving taxes, and it's supporting a lot of the ecosystem. And like Helios is a beneficiary of Element, so it makes sense to continue building on that. So as far as like expanding the Base, like E280 is gonna have taxes still, 4% tax. How those taxes are allocated we're still deciding exactly. But yeah, like it's going to be the exact same concept, where it's only mintable from the base token. So it requires HLX to mint H420, and it requires Element to mint E280. I don't know. I guess I have a question for you guys. Is it confusing if we use E280? So like with Element, we call it E280, but the actual ticker is Element. Would it be confusing if we made the Omni-chain version the ticker E280? Because it's the same token, but I don't know. I like using it, but it may be confusing. But they should be synonymous, like,
They should
be. So maybe it doesn't matter, because they're both going to be 4% taxes. They're both going to be very similar, and they're I'm looking at creating that LP web on Base with it, and then expanding to other chains and expanding that LP web. I don't know. That's an easy fix, So I haven't completely decided on that, but
it's interesting. I mean, yeah, because these things do run in parallel and they're synonymous, like you said. Now, is Element from Ethereum going to be the main input token, or is it going to be a new token? Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. So the only way to mint E280 Omni-chain is by using your Element tokens. So
interesting. That's sick. That's actually really cool. I love these ideas of using input tokens as, I guess you'd call it like a supply sink kind of type thing, just a way it's going to dramatically reduce supply. Any even just with a little bit of adoption, you're talking about taking a ton of Element out of circulation through proxy of using X28. Yeah, it's nuts. And I presume that you're going to be one of the first people to do this. And once people see like what you're doing and how you have it set up, like I would expect other projects to start to
follow
accompany
in.
those ideas,
Yeah.
which is cool. I mean, like, how does that make you feel as a builder? You're innovating stuff that like nobody has done before. How does it make you feel like when people are taking pieces of what you've built and innovating on it? Like, is that something that you like are impressed with, or is that something like, where does that fall for you?
Yeah, no doubt. Like it makes me, imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, like that's the route I take.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
So like I try to always stay humble, and just, I'm not gonna just be out there and be like, I'm the shit, I'm the best guy out there doing this thing. But like it does feel good to see other people following and building on, I'm just happy to have good ideas spread, like you're saying, like taking in ETH, like, and everyone's like, man, that's a great idea. And I'm like, please do that. Like everyone should do that. And I was trying to remember, there's a protocol that's actually expanding on that, and they're accepting USDC as well.
Yeah, I saw that yesterday, I think.
I can't remember who it was.
Bonfire. Wasn't it
Bonfire? You're right.
Okay.
I think it was Bonfire. Yeah, I saw that. I was like, whoa, all right.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's just like taking it a step further as far as like, ease on the participant to get in to participate. Like whatever token, if you accept 3 different tokens, but they're all going into buying TitanX, like it's still supporting the ecosystem as designed, but for the user, it's easy to get in. Like now you don't need anything. You don't like, and a lot of people may be holding a bunch of USDC, and that's how they operate. But yeah, it's like, to me, I'm happy to see that. It confirms to myself that what I'm doing is right. When I see other people, borrowing this and that and like and putting it in protocols, it's like cool. Like I'm headed in the right direction. That's the way I see it. And again, it's not a competition. Like, I mean, it's more of a friendly competition, but like, we're all in the same body of water. And like, if you can take some of the concepts that I've got to put on your protocols, and that raises the tide, that I'm part of that. So like, I want everybody, I want Mizuchi to succeed to the fullest extent possible, because that is going to support me. Like that is exactly why I like TitanX the most, is the bonded liquidity, and it's you don't see it anywhere else. Like it is so powerful. And
the
then
innovations are compounding so dramatically, right? It's like somebody sees like something that you do, or see something that Eric does, or Steve. The auctions caught a lot of steam, picked up a lot of steam. The idea of the perpetual auction, and everybody's doing it a little bit differently. Nothing's just like a straight copy and paste, but when it comes down to it, if something works, it works. And if you can make it better, then by all means, like I brought the hybrid NFT concept to TitanX, and now what do we have? Almost 10 different hybrid NFT projects. It's amazing. You don't have like regular NFTs, like they're NFTs that do something. You burn the claim, the back end. They're always backed with some kind of liquid asset.
That is so huge, man. Like that concept. Yeah, obviously I've incorporated that into E280 and stacks, and like I fucking love it. And I feel like what I've added to that is like with your NFTs, it's a two-way street. You can break them down and remint them, and that's where I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go further and be like, you can break it down, but you can't remint.
You ain't get my rewards.
Like,
and then it forces people to actually go OTC at a certain point. If they want to get back into collecting rewards, then they can use a marketplace to do so, get into NFTs, and then get a part of that rewards pool. OTC is really powerful. I don't think it's really totally caught on yet. But I think in time it will. It's just a matter of like, how these projects integrate, et cetera. Because when you talk about rewards pools and payouts and stuff, it does complicate the whole thing a little bit, right? I like with Mizuchi, like we have a constant like vesting period built in. So selling these NFTs OTC can get a little bit complicated because it has to be displayed like, okay, this NFT needs to vest for X amount of time before it's, you know, fully backed with the token. So yeah, it's really interesting. Like these hybrid NFTs just take a lot of things to a new level. My favorite part by far is the supply lockup. Like that is lock in supply and creating loyal holders based on whether they like the NFT art or if they like the rewards that they're getting from it, etc. Well, then, you know, especially with the rewards, you never really have a reason to sell. Yeah. You can collect your rewards and start to compound those into other things. I mean, like what other thing in crypto just pays you, and it's essentially almost like liquid staking at that point. You can always get liquid on your asset. You know, you're not dedicated to a long time lockup. Like there's just so many positive things that come with this hybrid NFT innovation. And I'm really excited to see how much further it goes because nobody's really doing this in crypto. Like there are hybrid NFT projects, but like generally it's like meme based, etc. Mm-hmm. Now we're taking it to another level where it's like reward based, you know, and it's with the buy and burn.
They're backed by utility tokens, not just a meme. Yeah,
it's huge.
And by the way, like we are gonna see Element 369 and Stacks NFTs on Titan Legends very soon. So
we actually just I got a little buzz in my inbox the other day that they're live. So yeah, yep, both of those are up right now.
Okay, now I gotta go look at this.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody has listed any yet, but I did make an announcement the other day.
Yeah. I love it. I love it.
Yep. Yeah. None listed yet, but you know, that was the thing with like this marketplace is like I expected around 10 projects to be listed by now, and I think we're just about there. And there's quite a few more in the pipeline. And, you know, I expect with adoption in TitanX is that, you know, when people are getting more into these hybrid NFTs, et cetera, I do expect for the marketplace volume to pick up pretty substantially. So I'm happy that this exists because nobody else had done this. And this is really early on. Being able to buy and sell NFTs with TitanX, ETH, et cetera, I think is a really powerful tool.
Yeah, and I really like on Titan Legends, like with like E280, you can, when you're viewing an NFT to purchase, you can actually see what kind of rewards are there as well that are unclaimed. So like you can factor that in. You see the backing amount and you see the rewards. So like you can go in, buy an NFT and claim those rewards that are sitting there on that NFT. So it's like on OpenSea, you can't, there's no way to really view that. So it's cool. Like if you go to the marketplace and check out E280. So by the way, I need to add the link to Titan Legends for Stacks and E369. I'll do that when we get off the call. Yeah.
That just happened like a couple days ago.
It opened up on a different window. Hold on. Yeah, it keeps opening up on a different window. Let me just share a different screen here.
Yeah, I mean, and again, that was the whole thing, like trying to get people, like, I feel like Titan Legends helped people understand how the hybrid NFT worked. And now, you know, Awesome X has one. You guys have a few different iterations of that. Like, I'm bringing that with Mizuki, and that's like Titan Legends. It's got some elements of E280, has elements of Volt, and it's all smashed together. And it helps people understand it because people are familiar with all these pieces of the process. Now we're taking and combining different aspects, mixing and matching. And it's a little bit easier than the time that I had trying to explain this to people from the onset, you know?
Yeah. Just click on like that first one. Let's see. I think I don't know. Yeah. And then if you scroll down, I think it'll show rewards somewhere.
Available rewards. Yep.
None.
Okay. So that they've been claimed, but like if there are any, it'll show on there. I saw some that were being listed with available rewards on them. They may have been purchased, you know. yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of activity. I mean, relatively new and everything. So, I mean,
I'm noticing like as these get more mature and there's more value behind the NFTs, we're seeing more listings and more volume on them. So I think over time it's just it'll grow.
How's your burn volume been looking on the NFTs, dude? Is it slowed down or has it kind of been steady?
It's been pretty steady. Like when we saw a huge amount of NFTs burned when we launched Stacks, which made me laugh. Is like, it's slowing down the last few days, but they're still getting burned on a pretty regular basis. It's pretty crazy.
Element 280 is sick, right? It's there's 32% of the supply locked in those NFTs right now, 54% burnt, only 6.77% liquid, 5% in the LPs, which is like, you guys have more LPs than anybody.
Stacks is even more massive. Like if you you can uncheck all the boxes to just look at liquid and LPs. Like with E280, 42% is in LPs and 57 out of like the circulating supply. If you look at just liquid and LPs, 42% of it is in LPs. Like it's crazy. And if you look at Stacks, is even more massive. Yeah, 81% is in LPs. Like,
dude, I didn't realize how sick these pie charts were. I didn't know that you can click these on and off. This is awesome.
yeah. Will you pull that back up, Ted?
Yeah, which one was it?
The E280 stats. Yeah. Like that really goes. It's hard for people to see the liquidity on like E280 specifically because it's in so many pairs. When you look at it, and you're like, yeah, there's only 80,000 in liquidity, and you're like, no, it's actually like 400,000. You know, like I haven't actually checked in a while what the actual numbers are, so don't quote me on that. But
come on, internet.
That's why it kills my internet when I like with Starlink. It kills it when I try to share a screen on top of streaming.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on here.
You out in the woods, bro?
I'm on the sun. That's where I'm at. Yeah.
Starlink, that's awesome. Yeah. I see a lot more people getting Starlink systems, and I mean, I don't really have a need for it where I am, but if you're in a remote area, how do you like the system?
Generally, I love it. Generally, like even in like go to the stats. Even like in bad weather, I was expecting a lot worse of a connection during like cloudy days and rainy, snowy days, but like it performs really well. And like the satellite itself has a heating function, so like on cold days, like it'll on its own melt the snow and ice to make sure it's got a clear connection to the sky.
Damn.
So it's not like I got to go out there and like scrape it down or anything. Yeah.
I need internet today.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. What does the system go for? I know I'm kind of deviating a little bit, but what is like the base cost for install?
It's like $600 or something.
That's it.
For like and then like monthly, it's like 100 and it's pretty expensive monthly. It's like 160 or something a month.
Wow.
For the base model, and then if you want the advanced one, it's like all the way up to, I think you can pay all the way up to 1,000 a month.
Wow. Yeah, they got a bunch of different plans. They have a marine plan. They have a land plan. I actually picked up.
So when you're out on the yacht, you can still have internet.
Right before the holidays, Starlink had a big sale in certain parts of the country where they marked them down to, I think it was $3.99.
Yeah.
And then they marked them down to something I forget, and then I had a military discount. I think I paid just under $300 for mine.
Okay.
And it was only for a very short window of time in certain states throughout the country, and then they went back to normal price. But I snagged one. I mean, what the heck?
Yeah, that's awesome. That's
Yeah.
great.
So
Anyway,
so I'm on this.
Yeah, go to the
feature.
stats page. Actually, that's what we were talking about. Yep, there you go.
Okay.
And the pie chart.
And then like click the burn section, like the little squares beneath the pie chart.
Oh yeah.
And just unclick, and just leave just the liquid and the LPs, because that's basically only what's circulating.
Oh.
And then you look at that and you're like, 42% of what's circulating is in LPs. Like, there is no question that there is sufficient liquidity for that for E280. Like,
That's a cool function.
Yeah. And then if you go to stacks, it's even more impressive. Like, if you look at just scroll down, right?
Just scroll down, yeah.
Yeah, and then do the same thing. Just show the LPs in liquid. Like, look at that.
Nice.
Massive.
Beautiful.
81% of circulating supply is in LP. Like, and that's, majority of that is smart contract controlled, so like there's no doubt this is an insanely liquid token with really small like circulating supply. It's crazy.
What's up, fam?
How's it going?
This is dedication.
Drive safe.
Hey, we're looking at the road, but we're listening, And
thanks for hopping on, man.
Yeah, absolutely. My meeting went a little too long, in my opinion, but when you gotta try to sell some shit, it's sometimes taking a little bit more time, and getting the sale is all that really matters, to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So we got a new TitanX builder coming in. Is that what you're selling? Is TitanX?
Showing up at the office.
Yeah. Well, ironically, this guy, he's all about design, and I'm like, well, dude, you should look at my website. It's looking really nice, man. And so yeah. But overall, it's been a good conversation. This guy invented basically a way to store organs, hearts, cells, and stuff like that, like in ORs and hospitals. So this guy sitting on like 10 acres of land, a big ass house. I'm like, yeah, you can spend some money today. It's all right.
It's not gonna hurt that bad. That's
nice.
Epic, dude. Thanks for hopping on, man. Yeah, we're excited for Flare, and I know you said you were gonna be late today. Now in the car, pure dedication. This is what TitanX is all about.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm really excited about Flare, man. We've had a couple different changes that I think really benefit not only Flare but the ecosystem, in my opinion. We kind of switched it around. So basically, the percent that is used for the auction buying, we've switched to 48%. So with that, changing the buy and burn to 28%. So this basically over time will allow more tokens being burnt, but also add more participation on the daily auction. So it's basically a delayed burn, if you will. We want to have a solid buy and burn. So I was like, hey, we're not going lower than 28%. So I'm not doing that. I was like, I still want it to be really aggressive. But so that's a big change. And then also we had the 8% sent to the Inferno buy and burn, but the first 4 weeks is going to be used to set and grow the Inferno Flare LP pair. And then after that 4 weeks, they'll be adding to the Inferno buy and burn. So pretty much allowing us to have a huge LP with it. And then after that, just constantly be adding to that buy and burn. So it's kind of, better in my opinion than just sending it straight to the buy and burn the entire time of the project.
Yeah, I think
I like that.
Steve kind of showed us the way on that with massive LPs. And it's funny you're talking about that, because that's what we were just discussing before you hopped on, is that, the LPs are important, and I agree with that, sentiment, and that I like the change. That's, like, because you're building that LP up front, and then once you feel like it's efficient, then you're switching it over to burning tokens, awesome.
Exactly. I just, it's even if we kept it the same and kept it at the 8% for the entirety of it, it still would have been pretty bullish in my opinion, because we still would have that LP. But to thicken it up, create a better move between Flare and Inferno, if you want to do it that way. So this way, it's like, hey, we're very serious about the Inferno Flare LP instead of just saying, hey, we're going to build it over time. This is like dedicated to being a massive X28 LP and a massive Inferno LP.
I love that. Yeah, it's so important. And the way to build it organically within the first X amount of time, I think is really important. You're not coming out of the gate with a massive LP, but you give that thing 4 weeks to develop. At the end of the 4 weeks, what is that going to look like? The buy and burn offers an injection to the LP in a way, but actually building those LPs with the Flare token, I think is equally as important.
Yeah, I absolutely think so as well. And, we still have the 8% set aside forever on growing the LP web. But this way, it like gives that, because if we're going to do after 4 weeks of forever adding to the Inferno buy and burn, you want to have just a massive LP with Inferno if you're going to do that. So this way, it's kind of best of both worlds, thicken it up, make it really large, but then also burn the crap out of the other side of that LP.
And then the other thing you mentioned was basically a heavier injection back into the auctions, correct?
Yep. So 48% of the mints and the daily auctions are going to be bought that next day, adding to the auction pool. So if $1 million comes in, 480 grand the next day, over 180 calls are going to be buying Flare and putting it in that auction balance.
Yeah, that's huge. Like when you talk about the ideas of a perpetual auction, and this is something that we've really delved into with Mizuki to figure out, how long can these auctions actually last without getting depleted down to nothing? And, when you're talking about a perpetual auction on a cap supply token, it becomes a really delicate thing that you need to consider. What is that auction pool going to look like 6 months from now? Right. And now you have something always add in program buy pressure and feeding the auction pool, which brings in further program buy pressure. That's how the flywheels work. I love that. That's great. I'm glad that you made that change there. That's going to be huge for the protocol.
Yeah, thank you. It's one of those things where, the more math you do, the more you realize like, hey, maybe we could do this a little better. And adding a bigger percentage to that mixed with, we're going to still have the tax that's going to be burning and adding to that auction pool. So it's like you're going to have a massive everyday program buy, but then any sells or buys on the open market are going to be adding to that auction pool as well. So just want to create a long-term, very solid auction system, in my opinion.
What's the daily utilization of the buy and burn versus the auction pool?
So it's 28%, but we have the Inferno percentages. So from Sunday to Wednesday, it'll be 4%. Thursday, it'll be 10%. Friday and Saturday, it'll be 15% of the auction, the buy and burn balance.
Interesting. Cool. Yeah, I like that.
Huh.
Yeah, that's like a big consideration, is considering how much is getting fed back into that auction pool versus how much is going out per day. So now the auctions, how much are they, like, say you have 1 million tokens in the auction pool, how much is being used each day?
11%. For 11% through the 11-week mint, and then 5% every day after that.
Nice. Yeah, I could see that being very sufficient. It's underestimated how fucking hard it is to pick some numbers and go with it.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yep.
Like when you have these things, like you're like tempted to be like, well, maybe we can make these things changeable, see how participation is, see how people are getting involved with the auctions, etc. But at the end of the day, like, you want to put out something that's like majority immutable. So now we're picking numbers and we're trying to predict the future. And it's a whole different idea than saying, okay, well, price go up, like, maybe the price will go up in this amount of time. Now we're saying, like, how long can we make this actually last? And how long can this be sustainable for? And I think those numbers are actually, I'm just, without putting it actually on paper, I'm thinking about it. I'm saying yeah, that's super sufficient. Like those auction pools will be really big for a long time, and always able to bring in more X28, more. It's X28 the primary input.
TitanX and Ethereum. So
Okay.
we have this 76%. So that 48% for the auction buy and the buy and burn 28%. All of that is auto minting X28. So
Gotcha.
it's TitanX and Ethereum. In my opinion, I'd rather only people go in with Ethereum, but that's just me, to be honest.
Yeah, same with like stacks. I'm always and E280. You know, I was like always constantly monitoring like mints. Like, oh, there's another one with ETH. Oh, there's another one with ETH. And I'm like,
yeah, remember that.
All you think about is like, yep, there's another market buy of TitanX. Like that's simple.
Yeah,
that's the whole idea.
Yep. When I saw you do that, I was like, if I do a project, because that was before I was even really committed, you know, I was like, I'm absolutely doing that. And it just helps everything. It really does just help so much within the ecosystem and your own project.
Yep, exactly. That's how, you know, we're making like these easy buttons all over the place, right? Like, dude, truly innovated the easy button for TitanX, and now we're taking this and incorporating it with things on X28 and just different ways to get involved with people that are outside of the ecosystem, which is our most important people to get involved right now. Make them excited, get them involved. They can get into Flare, they can get into Element 280, all these different projects, Mizuchi, etc. And that this is how we're going to grow our ecosystem. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah, I got an emergency update here. Stacks minting is showing a 54% ROI currently. It was 30% when I was looking at it earlier.
Wow.
54 that's massive. It's massive.
Dude, I feel like this happened last stream too. Every time you open your mouth, dude, the ROI goes up. Keep screaming, bro.
That's what like people were saying that about Jake. They're like, every time Jake gets on a stream, TitanX pumps. They're like, Jake, you just need to be on a stream 24/7. Like, let's go. Right? Yeah. I know he was saying like he's still got family stuff going on. He was like trying to like he's excited to get back to, you know, streaming and marketing and all that stuff. So we should be seeing a good sized push from him as well coming soon. Yeah.
That actually brings up a really great point. Like as builders, like how are you guys like balancing your IRL stuff with crypto, right? Because like
I'm not.
There's no balance. There's no balance.
So many eyes are on us, right? To like always be active, always like producing new content, etc. And now all of a sudden, like you have a medical emergency or somebody in the family, and you got to drop everything and be there. Like I know this has been relevant for Ted. This has been relevant for myself, etc. Like how do you guys navigate that?
Yeah.
It's I don't. That's really what it is. It's like I'm always
I'm streaming from my car, so
yeah.
Perfect example.
There's no balance at all, I don't think.
There isn't. I mean, it's true because sometimes when IRL gets in the way, you're not sitting down until 9:30 at night, and then at 3 in the morning, you're like, man, I got to get some shut eye, you know. And you're addressing an entirely different audience because everybody else in America's in bed, you know. So it's like content you're throwing out, you just throw it out when you get the window, and sometimes it could be you're up at 5 and then you're pounding until 10, you know.
Yeah,
it's just you take the windows and you run with them.
Yeah, I'm just moving into this is like the first week of being in my apartment with my girlfriend, and just having like a sense of like every single day I know where I'm going instead of like traveling to her, traveling to my parents, whatever the case is. I mean, you guys seen it this week. I've been putting out content and like trying to get more in the rhythm again because the kind of all over the place, like you said, IRL, it's really tough, but with a solid place to just lay my head every single day. I'll go to bed at 12 tonight. I'll go to bed at 2, whatever the case is. I need to get some shit out into the ether.
Yep.
Yeah, crypto's the. Oh, go ahead, dude.
What also is suffering is like that. Majority of this is all builder related, but like what else is suffering is my personal portfolio. Like I don't have time to manage it either. Like that's a whole nother thing that like before I was a builder, I was just an investor and was always watching charts and, buying and selling tokens and getting into these projects. And like now it's like, I don't have time to do any of that because to me, priority is building like this.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'm supporting myself even more so in any other way than just by adding more utility to TitanX. Like that's supporting the ecosystem more than anything. But so my portfolio just is kind of sitting stagnant. If to be honest, like it's there's so much. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a hard balance. Like I know for myself, like my best hours for work turn out to be like after my wife goes to bed. Like I'll come down to my dungeon to the lab and I'll start working on stuff. And like Ted was saying, like sometimes it'll be 2, 3, 4, 5 in the morning, and I'm like, damn, like I should probably sleep at least like 2 or 3 hours and like get back to it.
Yep.
And especially when the inspiration strikes, it's like you can't just like not engage it, right? Like I think it's really important to when you have like that movement and you have like those things that are like really pressing, like for ideas and creativity. Like you got to strike when the iron's hot, and sometimes that happens in the wee hours of the night when you don't have the distractions from what's going on, outside of crypto, right? So it's a challenge.
I couldn't agree more, right? And I've said this in the past stream, but Flare as an entirety came to me at 2:00 in the morning at my girlfriend's parents' house in the kitchen. And my girlfriend's like, "What time did you go to bed last night?" I was like, "I think I went up at like 4:30 or something like that." She goes, "You are a psycho." And I'm like, "But trust me, this idea I have is solid." I'm like, "It is so good."
Yeah, I come from a background where it is like a feast and famine type of industry. And like, I'm used to like when the work's there, you take it and you work long hours and you eat up all of the profits you can, because there's times where it's a month, 2 months, or even 3 months where the industry's dead. And like, if you don't have money saved up, you're struggling. And I always saw their coworkers that was like the second the work stopped, they were freaking out and they're like having to go find other jobs and do other things. And it was like I was just chilling, and then comfortably months later when the work came back, like it always does, then I hit it hard and I work long hours and I make the money. And like I've been doing that for like 10 years. So I'm completely used to these long hours and really pushing myself. And like, that's the way I feel like the crypto thing is too. Like we're in a bull market, like there's no sleep. Like I'm going to push through all of this, continue to build, continue to just be all in on it. And then when the money dries up, that's when you start resting and you use what you did to save up and survive through that bear market to hit the next cycle. Like it's no rest until 2026, I think.
That's it, baby. Yep.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that I just personally, for me, like when it comes to marketing, content creation, stuff like that, you could spend a couple hours on something and really, get to a certain point and then just be like, nope, this isn't going to work. And that's just 2, maybe 3 hours of something that you were doing. You just couldn't get it right. And you put it aside and you start over again. You gotta find it right. And sometimes, that can be a real challenge. And then those are the nights when you're just sitting there looking at the clock and you pick your head up and you're just like, wow, it's 3:30 in the morning, and you're still trying to get that one thing done, to get it out there, to make sure it was going to have some impact. It's so time consuming sometimes. It's really
I agree with that, man. It's like you can't look at these things as wasted time. Like if you worked on something for a few hours and it just wasn't coming together and you decide to scratch it all together, that's all a part of the creative process. I mean, I did music production for years and years, and there'd be times I'd be like working on like a song or maybe just a piece, like a little track, and like work for hours on this thing, and all of a sudden I'm just like, nope, delete, see you later. But I've learned a lot, right?
Yeah.
It's like you can't, like, these things are cumulative, and you know, this I've been finding my creative process with crypto stuff very akin to the music production world, where yeah, sometimes like I might be working on something that, you know, maybe it doesn't come together, but something always comes out of it that's a better output at the end of the day, because you took that as a learning experience, you were able to grow from it and make it even better, and there's a lot of beauty in that.
Yeah, Kool-Aid has said the exact same thing, you know, with his design process, what he's doing. Like, he's like, you have to have that ability to decide, you know what, like, this isn't going to work, and throw it away and start over. You know, like, you have to be able to do that, because if you're just forcing ideas that are subpar, then like you're going to get subpar outcomes, you know.
Yep.
It might seem like a waste of time, like you said, but that is part of the process, is to be like, nope, throw this away and start over. And then you come up with something that is amazing. And you're like, you do get that fuck yes energy. And you're like, this is it. I'm going to ship this, you know?
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the best ideas come when you don't expect them to. Like I remember telling Ted that at the very beginning when we started working together. And I was like, I have ideas for this and that, but let me just like let this marinate. Right. Yeah. And like just let it sit. And then all of a sudden you could be, you know, in the car like Smooth is right now, and you're like, that's it. The world stops. Yeah. Oh my God. It happens. That happens pretty frequently for me. And I just had like, there's a big thing of like trust in the universe, or however you want to like say it. But like, you know, just when you put these ideas out there and they start to develop, like, you have to trust that the best thing will come back in the end of it too. Right. I know I'm getting a little bit like, you know, ethereal or whatever, but yeah, I've always been a firm believer in this, like, trusting the process and letting things marinate and just be. And then when the iron's hot, like, that's the time to really start cranking it out.
Yeah. So with some of the things, and dude, you'd mentioned something earlier in the stream, and you know, the perception of TitanX from the outside, you know, it's like some people get it, some people don't. You know, it seems confusing, seems complicated, whatever. That's all well and good. You know, we're in tune with that. We understand that. We know that. Now with X28 coming on board, you know, that narrative going to omnichain, how are we going to look at, you know, marketing that and getting people to understand what that is? You know, what level of effort and thought has gone into that? I mean, for us in the ecosystem, we're like super excited about it because we know its potential. But that now creates another mountain to climb as far as marketing when we do go omnichain. So people do understand, or at least can see the connection in a sense. You know what I mean? To tie it together in some way, you know, as an ecosystem or founders and builders, you know, how much forethought has gone into that, because that is going to be a whole nother mountain to climb.
I mean, for me, my angle of attack is to just like do as much of that in the background as possible, you know, just like accepting ETH as payment. Like, you don't even need TitanX, you know, and that's kind of the same thing. Though I think the way that I want to attack on base is building something that's innovative, that's going to attract people that have no idea what X28 is. And I've even considered just like, well, I was going to say just accepting ETH only, but that doesn't make sense. Like, I think always accepting X28 makes sense. But the default is on ETH, you know, like, and if you know about it, then you can click that toggle and go to X28. But the default is ETH, and just providing a protocol that on its own that people are going to want to participate in. And then when they make that mint with ETH, it is in the background, you know, going through X28 and doing those things. And then like, just like make it as easy as possible for the new user to not even have to worry about it. And then when they dig in deeper, like if you want to go to the white paper, you want to learn more, then we'll explain all of those things and why we're doing it. But up front, I think at a glance, like my thinking is to just don't even just make it simple for the user to where they don't even have to know or care. Like,
and leave it up to them to take it from
Right.
there, basically.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and let the Uniswap router do their swaps. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
it can be as simple as that, though. I mean,
Yeah.
like they almost don't even. We're trying to create a level of interoperability within our ecosystem that can encompass new users and take them in on a very simple basis. And you know, if they want to just participate with ETH, great. You know, everything happens in the background, and then they can go perform their swaps just like any other token, right? Like again, if they want to just swap it back into ETH on base or whatever, they can just let the Uniswap router do the work, and it's done. You know,
Yeah, and the
it's
gas is even cheaper, so like a double hop's not even gonna
nothing.
really
Oh my-
even show. You know, like they're not even
Dude.
gonna notice that.
Beautiful.
That's a major point of why I'm so excited to be able to build on other chains in the future, because ETH, especially like we're in the NFT space, like dude, you know, like things are really expensive. You know, if it weighs 100 on launch day, you're fucked. You know, needless to say, like it's going to deter a lot of people. But on base, you know, it doesn't really matter. Now we have multiple input tokens. We have the buy and burn now that can, instead of just doing one function, can do 10 functions, and it won't even matter. You know, the reward for triggering the buy and burn is going to be that much better for the user. It's going to be really interesting to see the level of innovation that can go into these things without the gas price of transactions being a factor. Because at that point, even if it's a cent or two, it's a non-factor. Right now, like we have to be really careful about, you know, gas optimizations, etc. You know, maybe even add in things that you just to optimize gas, you know, like in E280, it's the distribute function for the rewards, right? Like having that all done in one click would be nice, but you need to have that extra piece because otherwise it'd be way too expensive for the user. So you have to think about all those things. Just going to open up a world of possibilities.
Yes, and I always find myself making things more complex and having to like go, you know what, this is too much for the average person, and take a step back and simplify things. And gas is another factor on that. We're like, well, trying to do all these things, man, gas is just stacking up on every function. You're like, it's more and more gas. So on base, I feel like I'm gonna really let loose and just be like, you know what, like let's just do it all and not worry about the gas side of things, you know.
Yep, absolutely.
That'd be so great.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I'm excited for those next developments. And if I'm not mistaken, you're incorporating other things to feed the E280 NFTs coming up. Did I imagine that, or did you tease that a little bit?
There was a tweet.
There was a tweet, right? I'm not making this shit up.
Additional use cases. I really want to keep that as a teaser, so I'm not really gonna say anything about it. But like, it's just, you know, there's so many things that can be done, you know, and especially with Omnichain E280, like there's the NFTs aren't going with them, just the token. So like, think about that, like ways that, I really love the Element ecosystem. I do. And obviously, like with stacks being built on top of it, like I think it's a huge boost to the ecosystem, because now, like, and TitanX, like stacks is so good. Like it's all of the TitanX, all of it is getting converted to X28. Like it's going to be a huge burner of TitanX. And then the buy and burn, all that X28 goes to buy E280 before it can buy stacks and burn it. So like it's just adding so much volume, you know, and then if people do want to burn their NFTs or sell out, they're doing that through E280. So it's creating tons of volume in top of E280. And then going omni-chain, it's just gonna, it's not gonna be additional volume on Element on ETH per se, but it's going to, like you say, be like that supply sink. It's just gonna, you know, like you wanna take it over to base. Well, that's got to come from somewhere, and it's just gonna eat up the existing supply on Ethereum super quick. And like, yeah, and it's like the next project. Excuse me, the next project. I want it to be on E280. I want it to interact with it. That's when it was like, well, let's take a step back. Same with 420. I'm pretty sure 420's main pair will be with E280, you know, and we're going to start that LP web with Helios. And Baby Dragon X, like me and James are doing this together as a team. So you're going to see Baby Dragon X going over there as well. Yeah, like we're gonna kickstart it with those tokens, and then building on base. You know, like we'll be adding to those LPs through that. So, and you know, yeah, it's gonna be volume on base, but if people want to participate, then they've got to bring Element to the table, and that's gonna be burning it, and that's, you know, all the Element that gets bridged over there is gonna have, you know, burning in there. It's so good. I'm really excited about it. Yeah.
Well, I'll consider myself teased then.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, I could see you definitely like becoming the forefather of getting the X28 movement going on base and other chains. I mean, you're pretty heavy in the Pulse chain as well, right?
I don't know. I wouldn't, like, I have Giannis there, you know, and I'm really happy how that's going. You know, up or down, like Giannis is burning, and, you know, and occasionally it's burning HLX in the process, and it's adding to our treasuries. Like it's doing good. As far as I feel like, I hate to say this, but there's too much uncertainty on that. I feel like I don't want to put all my eggs in one basket. So that's kind of where I'm like, you know what? Like I'm going to let that ride for a little bit, and I really want to expand to base, you know, and to me, like, these are untapped markets. Like, why go heavy on one when you can just keep expanding to others and keep adding to, you know, adding more user base. So like, I don't feel like I'm going to go heavy on base either. I don't know. It's hard to say, but the way I imagine it is, you know, I come out on base. I definitely want to build there next, but the next project after that might be on Arbitrum, you know, or Binance or something. And just, I feel like that's the best thing, is to build a successful standalone protocol that people are going to get into and like, and then when they're there and they start digging deeper, they're going to be like, oh, what is X28? Oh, what is Element 280 and HLX? And, you know, that's when they start going, oh, like, and then they can expand and start looking at other protocols that I've got going on. But to me, like, it's an untapped market. So I really do want to spread out laterally instead of just, well, and even with OmniChain, like I can build on base while still supporting HLX and E280, you know, and so why not just keep expanding? You know, that's kind of my thoughts on it.
I'm with you on that, man. You know, and you said something about building laterally. It's like everything. I've said this on quite a few streams, but everything on TitanX has been vertical, right? Like these different stacked LPs, et cetera. And, you know, everything's more or less reliant on the TitanX ETH pool that we have. And it's going to be really interesting going omni-chain and going to these other chains. That we're going to have a native pair with X28 on other chains. And people are going to be like, there's going to be a bigger liquidity spread horizontally, which is going to it has a lot of interesting implications for what's to come in the future, right?
Like it is spreading out, but it's still the bonded liquidity play. Like
Yes,
it's
exactly. It's
still built
beautiful.
on
It's
X28,
killer.
but you're expanding. So it's like the best of both worlds.
Yeah, it's
There we
killer.
go. I couldn't recognize you without the glasses.
Yeah, there he is.
It looks so different.
It's just
Oh,
something
that
now he's in
stash is
business.
epic, by the way. Yeah.
Thank you.
What was that?
The stash is epic.
Yeah,
I was gonna say, bro, you have that TitanX hat that says like TitanX upside down. That is the freshest hat I've seen in a long time. I want one.
I've been seeing more and more of that style ever since I saw Smooth. I've
Oh,
been
these
seeing
are
other people with
sick,
them.
dude.
Yeah, the flare and then the TitanX. So
Yeah, that's
we're
so
gonna
fresh.
we're gonna get the once flare officially drops. Like I have an order that I placed a couple days ago for like 25 of these. So I'm doing when flare officially drops, I'm just gonna send them out to everybody. So you're gonna have to dox your address if you want one, but I'll send it to you. So
Speaking of, I've got some stacks NFTs that I've been meaning to give away. If there's something, somehow, some way we can give one away on this stream, I'd be happy to. I don't know exactly how, but we can definitely do that. Maybe just trivia or a random person. What I don't know, but yeah, I've got. Yeah.
Let me see if I can find something, and then you guys continue. I'll look for something real quick.
Maybe you can do the repost, tag 3 friends, and drop your wallet on this. What do you guys think about that? How many people are watching right now anyway, Ted?
Let me check.
Yeah, I feel like the tag and reposting it feels gimmicky to me, but if it works, it works, like.
Yeah.
But I was thinking more so people that are engaging in this stream specifically, as opposed. Well, I guess we are streaming on X as well, so I don't know what I'm thinking.
Yeah. Let's see if I can get a cumulative here.
It should just show in the top left. If you click on it or hover over the streaming count, it'll show you like total and like how many.
Well, I only see
streaming.
17 in yours, but Smooth.
it's in the stream.
What's the total, though?
Should have it all.
I don't see it.
Who created the stream?
I can see it.
Ted did.
Okay, so you should have it.
Yeah, just right next on StreamYard, right next to where it says live in the top left. It'll show number of viewers.
Oh,
he's looking at us like, what the hell?
I was looking at YouTube, man. I was like, what?
Sorry. Oh no, we should probably be around 200 or so, I think.
265.
No, he just
265.
Okay. Cool. Yeah.
Sorry, I was looking at YouTube.
Yeah, cross pollination.
Yeah,
that's it, baby.
So then, what's the gig then? What are we doing here? So, a post.
I have no idea. I'm a complete amateur. Like I minted 10 common LFG stacks NFTs with the intention of giving them away, and that was like 2 weeks ago, and I still haven't given a single one away. So I'm like, I mean, yeah, I haven't decided what's the best way, but I'm imagining I can do 10 different giveaways. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I like giveaways as a marketing tactic. I mean, there's a lot of people in crypto. You got to consider like the user base. Like, there's a lot of people that may have 50 or $100 in, or people that have hundreds of thousands in.
Yeah,
it goes really wide. But being able to give something away that has even if it's worth $20, like that could mean a lot for somebody. And those people that don't have a lot of times are really some of the most vocal people as well. They're the people that are really working for their bag. So and when we did Titan Legends, I think I gave away 50 NFTs, and at some point or another, those were worth, I don't know, $400 or $500 a piece. So that goes a long way. I mean, there's a delicate balance there, of course, but that can be a game changer for a lot of people. So I like
what
to be able to do that.
what was your favorite way of giving those away? Like, what was the style?
So I would do the like, repost, and retweet. But what I ended up noticing is that there was a lot of bot accounts created, like farming accounts.
Yeah.
So you have to actually go through and check, and it's really easy to like notice which ones. Like, yeah, they could have a green profile picture, but like if you go and see like their content that they're posting, it's all just giveaway stuff, right? So they're just clearly farming. So that can kind of be a broken system if they catch on that you're doing a lot of giveaways.
Yeah, that's my concern is, I'm giving away an NFT to somebody that has no idea. They're just literally airdrop hunters, and they get whatever airdrop and then they immediately sell it and dump it for ETH and then move on to the next airdrop. Like, that's their whole game plan.
Exactly.
So,
it was
really
easier at
try
the
to avoid
beginning, but it was easier at the beginning, but as people caught on to us doing a lot of giveaways, I noticed a lot more of those airdrop hunters coming out of the woodwork.
Yeah. So we'll just leave it at that for now. Like, I've got 10 to give away. Keep an eye out on that. We'll figure
Stay
something out.
active.
Yeah.
Stay active. Give us a thumbs up in the chat. Show us that you're alive. Proof of life.
Yeah.
Well, actually, dude, this is more for you. This is more of an honorary trivia question. What letter in the periodic table of elements is not shown?
I have no idea. Let's go with, I don't know, Q.
Smooth?
I'm trying to think back to AP Chem. I'm going to say Y, even though I know it's probably on there.
Well, Rudy's not here. Technically, it's J. I figured I'd throw a little trivia in there. What the heck?
That would have been,
it's an element. It has to do with periodic table of elements. So
and before we answer that would have been a perfect giveaway for the community to like someone to answer that, and could have gave away an NFT from there.
I got
That's
I
a
got
good
some
idea.
more. I got some
Okay.
more.
Okay. That's we can run one, and just first one to answer in the chat, will win an NFT.
All right. So let's hear. Let's see.
Does it count if I'm in the chat or...
Yeah.
Let me get a pretty good one here. These are all super simple. These are not good.
Right. So I'm while you're doing that, Ted, I'm gonna ask you the win launch.
Yeah, so we're just started our first audit a couple days ago. Everything's going really well. Overall, the DApp is pretty much ready. There's a couple of little things we're gonna do to the front end of it, but we just blinked and it's already January 10th. So I want to say late, like I said, mid to late January. Now it's like late January, early February. Like, absolutely, it'll be ready, I think, late January. But just see who's releasing what, and overall the market and all that kind of stuff. But testing's been going great, and everything's looking awesome, and the audit is coming back pretty solid. So
nice.
Once we're done that, we're ready to rock, and I'll definitely be eager to release it per se. So the team is like, oh, we'll wait for this, and I'm like, dude, the moment it's ready, let's release it. I'm like, I'm not doing this 3 weeks from now, 2 weeks from now. I'm like, we've been saying that, and when I moved the goalpost of the auto minting X28, that's kind of what really added the extra weeks to it, in all honesty. So but yeah, everything's going pretty solid.
Nice.
Cool. All right, so I do have a question, a trivia question here, and dude, as you had said, in this one here, this will be for a
Stacks, common,
Stack.
LFG, NFT. Yeah.
Okay, So, and here's the question. And the first person to put the answer in the chat will be the winner. So here's the question. What is the only letter that does not appear in any U.S. state name?
Wow.
Don't cheat. Don't cheat.
A lot of keyboards are firing up right now.
Oh, we are in the information age, aren't we? It's like we're so spoiled. We don't even have to search the internet anymore.
Utah crypto. Let's see.
Come on, Utah, you can't. I'm not giving.
You can't win.
Oh, well.
We'll go with trees. We'll go with trees.
Trees. Let's go.
He's the next guy.
The answer.
Q's in the chat.
First one.
Q's in the chat.
That's too funny. Utah. Come on, man. Killing me here.
Of all people. Yeah. Utah. Come on. Dude loves NFTs, man. Loves them.
Yeah, he does. He does. Yeah. Yeah. I don't expect when I wanted to play. Yeah. So trees, shoot me. Post your X handle here, and then we can start a DM on X, and I'll get your. Unless you want to just post an address, whatever you prefer. Yeah, let's fucking go.
There's also no Q's in any of the TitanX project names. Fun fact.
All right.
All right, you just got an NFT, Rudy. Good job. Congratulations, Utah. I know you're gonna put that in a vault somewhere for the next couple decades, I'm sure.
No, we're giving it to trees.
Trees.
Yeah, there we
go.
Let me pull up.
Congrats, brother.
Yeah. That was fun. Yeah, I'll have to do some more of that. I think trivia is a fun way to do it because it's, I don't know, we'll have to think of questions that aren't easily, just Googled,
Or chat GPTable, yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, that's a great idea. I think I might fold that into the lounge, and keep that an option for all the founders and builders out there. If you come on the lounge, if you want to do a giveaway. Yeah, we could do it. I could start putting together some really good trivia questions that might actually require a little more than just a quick Google search. That could be fun. It may be 10, 15 minutes of digging than the real,
nice
guys. After the question's put out, 10 minutes later, somebody finally comes in panting with an answer.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds fun. Yeah.
Yeah, I was one of my thoughts on doing live streams. I was going to do somewhat like of a game show, like a trivia game show or like a Jeopardy style or something. But I was just like, how the hell am I going to prevent cheating? One, and two, it's like, how do I even know who's first on half of this stuff? So I was like, I didn't even know how to really put it together. But that was like when I was like trying to figure out like, okay, I need to do something else on my live streams. But now it's like, I got players, so I guess I have plenty to talk about.
You definitely got a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Hey, shout out to Trees real quick. By the way, I can't DM you, so DM me, and I'll get an address from you. But he's rocking the Titan Legends avatar. So
nice. Hell yeah.
Sick.
My dude.
Yeah. So it went to a good guy.
Yeah.
OG. That is an OG symbol in TitanX for sure.
Yeah. I think I cut somebody off. Sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna say, the lounge has been developing beautifully, and we're gonna be doing another one. I think next week on the 16th. We're looking at sometime after 2 p.m. EST. Right. So if you guys are available, we'd love to definitely have you on again. Today, CryptoAudioKing was supposed to be on. I messaged him and I was like, bro, I want to make you bullish on Mizuki. So unfortunately he couldn't make it today. So I got Callum that's going to be on the stream, and he's really good at like processing information and like spitting it back in as little words as possible. But yeah, you guys are more than welcome to come on. These things are always open to whoever wants to come on. So even the community members, like feel free to reach out. Like if you want to come on a stream, like feel free to reach out to me or Ted directly. We'd be happy to host you and talk about TitanX and everything that goes with it. We want to obviously make this a regular thing. Like we don't have like a set day yet, just because everybody's schedules are so different. But yeah, we're looking at the 16th for the next one if you guys are available.
And this is the TitanX Lounge, not the X Space that you were talking about earlier.
Yeah, there's two different things. Yeah, the X Space will be with Sal from Ascendant. We just did a really it was funny actually. He was running a meme coin space with Ali, and I saw it. I was like, fuck. I was like in the middle of doing a bunch of stuff, and I like came down. I was like, what up? I totally crashed this space super hard. and yeah, by the end of the stream, Sal and I were like, yeah, let's just keep this going. So everybody's a host in that. Like, let's just get as many people involved. Like, we really want to reach out to people outside of the TitanX community and just offer an open forum that way. And the spaces are really, really efficient way to do that, just to be able to hear from people, hear their thoughts. Obviously there's the big Sunday space. And that's a little bit more formalized. So this is a little bit like, you can drink a beer and come on and hang out.
Right.
So
yeah, I just did a stream with Sal and yesterday, and he's a good dude, man. The first time we really spoke to each other. So he was definitely like, you got to come on the spaces. And I love the spaces. It's a great way for community members that don't necessarily get on live streams and like talk and stuff like that to vocalize what they think, what the views are, kind of how they see us possibly getting more users and stuff like that. So spaces are definitely powerful and underrated in my opinion.
I agree. There's so many streams that happen in TitanX, but you got to have a link to get to the StreamYard, etc. And I think the idea of like somebody being able to raise their hand and come up and essentially help co-host at that point, something that I can picture, being kind of an empowerment tool for people to get their voices heard. And I'm looking forward to doing those as well with him. Sal's a great dude too. I could tell that him and I would be like great friends in real life. Like as soon as we started chatting, I was like, yeah, you're an OG. I like you.
Right.
Yeah, I haven't had a pleasure of talking with him yet. I'm sure at some point we will.
Yeah, I mean, they got a good thing going. I mean, between him and Trader Lee, Builder Lee, Builder Lee's definitely like a really intuitive person. You can tell just through his post, and heavily involved in the ecosystem. And Ascendant's going to be interested. I like the idea of their auctions leading into minting the NFTs, getting passive Dragon X rewards. Like that's a protocol I'm very excited for. I think that they got a lot of good things locked in there. Another hybrid project, which I love naturally.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm waiting on Eric to pump my bags. He's talking big game over there.
What's that? Oh, Eric to pump your bags on what?
Just in general, he's acting like he's hot shit, and like he is the number one place to be in TitanX. And I'm like, okay, yeah. I mean, if he can bring in the people like he thinks he can, then that's cool with me.
Yeah. Absolutely, yeah.
Right.
Every little piece, like I feel like everybody in TitanX has a different style of going about, building their user base and build their engagement. And sometimes the outrage marketing thing. I mean, he's been pretty hilarious. Not gonna lie, on a lot of his posts and stuff. So, we have a little piece of that. And here, we're a bunch of nice guys. We just want to like talk to everybody. And so there's other guys that are more technical, etc. So, we're covering a lot of bases in TitanX for sure. A lot of personalities, which I love.
Yes, I like that he's embracing the villain of TitanX. I think he even changed his name on Twitter.
Yeah.
I love it. It's awesome. And I agree with you. Like everyone's got their own style, and I think that's really good for outreach. Because somebody might like his style, or they might like Rudy's or mine, or like. We're all attracting different people, and it's all coming into one single pool of TitanX ecosystem. So, Yeah.
Beautiful.
There's
Is
your
this the
game
game
show.
show?
Smooth. There's your game show, Smooth.
Oh, I love that. It looks great.
I did that a while ago, man.
Mhm.
I think it was a launch of something. I forget what it was, but
I
I was like,
remember that
let's
screen.
make this because the screen was just packed, and I was like, oh yeah, I was thinking Hollywood Squares. So I was like, I threw that together.
Oh, that's awesome.
It was fun.
I would
I had the
definitely
same
love to be a
thought.
game show host. That would be so fun. Like I have
Yeah.
no skin in the game. I just kind of hang out and joke. You know, it's like Steve Harvey kind of. You know, just
Yeah.
You already got the mustache, bro.
Yeah.
I'm your host, SmoothNCrypto. You know.
I love that.
That's so perfect. Yeah.
Yeah. Does anybody else have anything else that they want to toss into the mix here before we wrap up for the day?
Yeah,
No, I
Flare
mean, we
incoming
covered-
sooner than you think. You know, we'll blink and
Flare's
we're already in
coming.
February. So, yeah, you were out, but we're in our first audit right now. So everything's been looking really great. And at the end of the day, I'm want to get this out as soon as possible. I mean, it's already been a long time already, and you know, coding and internet stuff is hard sometimes. And at the end of the day, you only get one shot at releasing it. So,
Yeah.
you get a good. Hopefully a good macro later in January, early February, and just set not only TitanX off, but the entirety of the world economy. That would be really awesome. So we'll see.
Yeah. Like we talked about that quite a bit at the beginning of the stream, like the macro outlook for crypto. And I mean, in so many ways, things have never looked so bullish for crypto. And leading into 2025, I mean, people were saying this back in 2021, kind of eyeing a bull market for 2024, 2025. And, things are playing out quite beautifully. I'm not going to lie. Obviously not financial advice, but this is certainly quite the time to be alive and just staying active and staying on top of things, because this quite literally, this not only this ecosystem, but the crypto space in general could quite literally be a once in a lifetime opportunity. And as Jake would say, don't fuck it up. Just
To say it lightly, you know.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's
right.
not financial advice. You can fuck it up as much as you want.
Well,
Oh, yeah.
people do. People definitely do. So-
Oh yeah.
This was another element I wanted to throw out there real quick too. We started up a Instagram account. So if you actually instagram.com/titanx.win. The idea behind this was to have just another platform to start putting some amazing content that's coming out from our community. And just like some of this stuff is just really, really fun. People can go and see what some of our, community members are doing. I think it's a great idea. And I want to start putting more and more stuff on here. And there's a lot of detail, and this is verbatim, from the documents and the information that we're sharing on TitanX.win. So I just took this information. So I want to be able to put stuff here because I think it's just a footprint that we can establish. I'm encouraging
Right.
people to go and join. The more activity, Instagram has an algorithm just like X. Hopefully, and I'll just start throwing stuff up there, and yeah, it's just another place to hopefully get some attention. I
Yeah,
wanted to
just
throw that out there real
untapped markets for sure. I had someone reach out, talking about Facebook as well, and it's like I always think of Twitter as the go-to for crypto, but like, why not? There's I know there's a presence on TikTok as well. Like, why? Yeah, hit them all. Let's
Yeah.
go.
Hit them all. Absolutely.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
if
it's a
you're
big
out there,
thing.
please check it out. And if you want to put anything up there, and if you're a content creator or anything, anybody, I don't care. If you want to put something out there, let me know, DM me, or if I see something good, and if I have the ability to download it, because some of the creators are actually preventing you from downloading their stuff. But if I can download it, I'd like to get it up there. So.
Absolutely,
share
every angle counts. That's the thing with the crypto space. I think most people get like their news from X, obviously, but I remember when I first got into crypto, I was looking at Reddit. That's another angle. I don't think that the Reddit community is as hot on crypto as it was at a point, because most of that energy has flowed to X particularly, but there are still people that use Reddit for exclusively like all of their news, etc. That could be an interesting angle as well in the future.
Yeah, I forgot about them.
Right? Yeah, and I barely use Reddit now, but I mean, it still has a huge user base.
Yeah.
The thing is with Facebook is like the idea of like doxing, right? Like,
Yeah,
now everybody knows who you are.
Yeah.
Instagram's okay because you don't have to be a doxed account, but Facebook, there's obviously a lot of users, but not everybody wants them to know their face and where they're from and where they went to school and who their girlfriend is and what they had for dinner last night. Like,
yeah, that's a bridge I can't cross.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No
for
doubt.
me, like I had a community member that's already on Facebook, and I was, they were asking me why not, and I had that same response. It was like, nope, I don't even have a Facebook account, and like, but I was like, if you want to create one, like I will happily give you the content, and let you run it,
Absolutely.
But if you're already doxxed, then that's fine, yeah. It's not like I'm afraid of being doxxed. I just like my privacy. That's what got me in the first place. And, I like that side of things.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. Yeah, I mean that's the thing with crypto in general is like I'm not a hard and fast like you need to dox kind of guy at all. I kind of come from like the older school where it's like you do your thing, trust the code, not the people, etc. But yeah, so it's like somebody doesn't want to dox, like totally respect that. Like people were like trying to bash on ORX. It's like, do you actually understand what he's doing? Like, it's almost laughable, right? It's like this guy didn't like profit anything. He's not taking a Genesis cut, nothing, and you're still like, oh, when are you gonna dox? Like, dude, just stay with it. Go hop into Telegram, see how responsive he is. Like, that doesn't bother me at all. 0%. So yeah, I think it's important that people can have that option to remain anonymous, but at the same time, you can still be transparent while being anonymous, right?
Yep.
Well, guys, it's been a couple hours, a little over 2 hours, 307 viewers. That's good.
That's epic. Hell yeah.
Epic. Yeah. Yep. Great. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
So on next week, we'll do this again. There'll be more of a focus on Mizuchi next week. Where if people are watching right now and haven't been keeping up, we're actually implementing a reward structure into Mizuchi that comes from the buy pressure from the buy and burn. So the buy and burn does a lot more than just buy and burn the token. Like, yes, it buys and burns the token, but there's a big focus on not only fueling the perpetual auctions that will run for a really long time, but also passive rewards for NFT holders pioneered by the dude himself, which is a nice way to be able to get payouts every 8 days without having to do anything, which keeps supply locked up out of circulation. And I've been really pushing this idea of program buy pressure. When you have something that's constantly bringing, in this case, X28 into the system, and this constant recirculation of the token, et cetera, along with the hyper deflationary aspect of actually burning that token as well, I think it's a really powerful tool. So we'll be talking a lot about that on Tuesday when Callum's on the stream. And again, guys, definitely hop in. We'd love to hear your thoughts on that. We're really excited to get this project out there. We just finished our first audits. Got through all of that. We're starting our second audits as we speak, actually. And we'll be dropping that. It's looking like early February right now. That's when the time feels right to do so. So yeah, stay tuned for all that information. We're super excited. We think that we have something really special here, and the potential of taking omni-chain is a very big one. Essentially having sister projects on other chains feeding back into the main one on Ethereum. with some twists and turns. We've put so much time and energy into the user experience, into the actual artwork itself. Like that's what I've been spending a ridiculous amount of time on, going through and just making sure all the details are right. Unfortunately, our dev team is very understanding and awesome and very adaptable. So these new changes that came in, we were able to turn around pretty quickly, and it didn't actually hold us up really at all. I think it was just push us back like 2 days. So yeah, everything's looking really, really great for Mizuchi. And yeah, so stay tuned for that. We'll be talking about that next week, and we can cover some Flare Element 280 updates. And whoever else wants to join in, even if you're a community member and watching this right now, like honestly, feel free to shoot a DM. Like we'd love to have you up here.
Right.
You don't have to show your face, just be willing to share your voice.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome.
Yeah, don't be
While you're
afraid.
waiting on Flare and Mizuchi, you can mint some stacks and NFTs.
That's it, baby. There's always something to do here. It's a big playground.
Yeah. And just with Rudy's suggestion, the hardest part about participating is battling yourself. I mean, just go up and you just talk.
Yeah.
If you can get over the fear of just speaking, it's quite easy. Don't be afraid. So we want to hear you.
Love it.
Nice.
All right, guys.
It's been awesome.
Much love. Thank you guys for taking the time to be on here today, and I'll be in touch with you all individually and together. And that's it.
Guys, thanks a million. Let's do it. All right. Have a great day, everybody. Be safe.
Peace.
Take care.
Peace.